So, friends, today we are discussing a very important disease that is hemophilia. As the World Hemophilia Day is on 17th of April, actually this is a blood disorder. And next. But one should not be scared of hemophilia. People with hemophilia now can live normal life, provided they get the right and timely treatment. Always it is said that prevention is better than cure. And in hemophilia also it's true. Those who fail to read the history, then there are chances that they may repeat the mistakes. So history of any disease is very important. In hemophilia, best known of the hereditary bleeding disorders, it is known since 2nd century AD, first coined by Stonelen in 1820. And next, it is sometimes referred as the royal disease, as it has affected the royal families of England, Germany, Russia, and Spain in 19th and 20th century. The best known example is Queen Victoria of England, is believed to have been the carrier of hemophilia B, that is factor 9 deficiency. She passed the trait on to 3 of her 9 children. Her son Leopold died of a hemorrhage after a fall when he was just 30 years old. The term hemophilia comes from a student of Zurich University, Friedrich Koch, and his professor, Dr. Sponlen, who came up with the term hemorrhaphilia, which then afterwards becomes hemophilia in 1828. The Argentinian physician Alfredo Pawlowski discovered there were 2 types of hemophilia, that is A and B, in 1947. In 1803, John Conrad Otto, a Philadelphia physician, was the first to publish an article recognizing that a hemorrhagic bleeding disorder primarily affected men and ran in certain families. The disease is very common in males rather than in females. Some of the early treatment included lime, bone marrow, oxygen, thyroid gland, hydrogen peroxide, etc. In 1930, they used to try snake venom for the blood clotting. In 1990, synthetic factor became available and recombinant factors were approved by the FDA. In 1995, there was a prophylaxis started being used as a preventive treatment for children. The hemophilia history is that the World Federation of Hemophilia, that is WFH, started celebrating the day in 1989, now almost 31 years over, closed April 17 to celebrate. It is in honor of the founder of WFH, Frank Scanbell. So the day is 17th April. It is a birthday. Hemophilia was discovered in the 10th century and was found mainly in males. The disease was known previously as abulcasis. In the year 1937, hemophilia genetic disorder was divided into 2 types, namely A and B. However, no treatment was found till that time. Then it was decided to raise the awareness about the disease among the people and make them understand the need to give the right attention to this serious health issue. In 1963, the WFM was established to improve the treatment and care for all the hemophilic patients. It is a group of hereditary genetic disorders that impair the body's ability to control blood clotting or coagulation. By simple injury, the patient goes on bleeding, which is used to stop bleeding when a blood vessel is broken. The hemophilia A, that is clotting factor 8 deficiency, is most common form of disorder present in 1 in 5,000 to 10,000 male births. Hemophilia B factor, that is 9 deficiency, occurs in around 1 in about 20,000 to 34,000 male births. The hemophilia is, let's see, hemophilia A and B types. Next. Theme for this year 2021 is adapting to change, sustaining care in the new world. Theme decided considering the COVID-19 pandemic since 1.5 years, having major impact on people with a bleeding disorder. And it is important for world to stand together in this changing scenario. Famous personalities who suffered from hemophilia. The love of Elizabeth Taylor's life and a Shakespearean actor. For the ages, Richard Burton starred in 61 films and 30 plays and was the first Hollywood star to reveal he had hemophilia. He was a 7-time Oscar-nominated British actor. He set up the Richard Burton Hemophilia Fund, first time in world, in 1964. Alexandria, the Boston film writer and actress, and he was basically the voice artist. Barry Harrod is the only man with HIV, hepatitis, and hemophilia with these 3 H, and who had cycled across whole country, America, though he was a patient of hemophilia. J.C. Shredder was a baseball player who played with severe hemophilia A. Ryan Wayne White became the poster boy for AIDS, and he suffered from AIDS because of the blood transfusion during 1980s. Queen Victoria, all of you know that there was a carrier of hemophilia B and passed this disease to her 2 daughters and 1 son. It is a disorder that results, because of excessive bleeding, and this bleeding is of no reason. The Garrido, president of World Federation of Hemophilia, said that the COVID-19 pandemic has made the life challenging for people with a bleeding disorder, but we cannot stop striving for treatment of all. World Hemophilia Day is a platform for showing the world that our community is resilient and we will overcome these challenges in the past. Adapting to change. This is the observed Hemophilia Day. This is the theme, sustaining care in a new world, World Hemophilia Day. It is an international awareness day for hemophilia and other bleeding disorders, and also marks the birth anniversary of the great Frank Schnabel, the founder of this World Federation of Hemophilia. This year, all activities and programs will be held virtually because of COVID-19. The day has been marked since 1989. The celebration in Australia, that is awareness-raising campaigns, conferences, workshops, etc. are being organized in this day by several communities. Various activities are being performed to inform the general public about the hemophilia disease. There is a nice picture showing the landmarks and the monuments in Australia and around the world to change their color to red in the night to support the World Hemophilia Day. Encourage people who have hemophilia to seek out medical support and post about their experiences on the WFH website, where it can be read by others. Next. Create a safe space for hemophilia patients to voice their share World Hemophilia Day posters and other materials with your community. Health should mean a lot more than escape from the death. or for that matter, escape from disease also. With these few words, I will stop. I will complete my introduction of hemophilia. I will hand over the mic to the Professor Shukla, sir.
Good afternoon, everybody. So, after listening to a detailed introduction on the hemophilia, now I come to the epidemiological aspects of hemophilia. So, hemophilia is usually an inherited bleeding disorder in which the blood does not clot properly. As you have heard Professor Gaikwad saying that it was previously called as hemophilia, which means love for blood. So basically it is a bleeding disorder. This can lead to spontaneous bleeding as well as bleeding following injuries and or surgery. Now the pathophysiology of the disease, the blood contains many proteins called clotting factors that can help to stop bleeding. People with hemophilia have low levels of either factor 8 or factor 9. The severity of hemophilia that a person has is determined by the amount of the factor in the blood. The lower the amount of the factor, the more likely it is that bleeding will occur, which can lead to serious health problems. In rare cases, the person can accept activate hemophilia later in life. The majority of cases involve middle-aged or elderly people or young women who have recently given birth or are in the later stage of pregnancy. The condition often resolves with appropriate treatment. Hemophilia occurs in about 1 of every 5,000 male births. Basically, it is a disease of male. Later on, you will understand why, because the female can only be carrier. It is rare for the female to have this disease. Based on recent study that used data collected on patients receiving care in federally funded hemophilia treatment center during the period 2012 to 2018, about 33,000 males in the United States are living with this disorder. Hemophilia A is about 4 times as common as hemophilia B, and about half of those affected have a severe form. Hemophilia affects people from all racial and ethnic groups. Hemophilia is caused by a mutant gene, that is due to the mutation of a gene that provides instruction for making the clotting factor proteins needed to form a blood clot. This change of mutation can prevent the clotting protein from working properly or to be missing altogether. Now here I have tried to show in a diagram how it is carried. Suppose the father is normal, he is having sex chromosome composition of XY. As you know, in male, the sex chromosome are XY, and in mother, they are XX. So if one chromosome of mother is carrying the mutant gene, then the mother will be carrier of this disease, that is hemophilia. Now, when the couple meet, then the progeny can be either son or daughter. As you can see here that in case of son, the Y chromosome will come from the father, which is normal, and the X chromosome comes from the mother. Now, if the child gets a normal X chromosome from the mother and Y chromosome from the father, the child remains normal. But if he gets Y chromosome from the father and the mutant X chromosome from the mother, then the child will, the son will be having hemophilia. He will be with hemophilia because this is a recessive gene and it leads pair to have, but since in male only one X chromosome is there, there is no opposing chromosome. The opposing chromosome is Y. So the child will develop hemophilia and this will be a hemophilic male. However, in case of the X combines with the X chromosome and the resultant is a daughter, then if this X combines with the mutant gene, mutant chromosome of the mother, then the child, the daughter, resulting daughter will be a carrier of the hemophilia because she will be having one normal chromosome and one disease chromosome. But if she takes the normal X chromosome from the mother, then this child, daughter child will be completely normal. Now, suppose the father is hemophilic, that means he is having X mutant chromosome and Y normal chromosome, then mother is normal. So what will happen that since the Y chromosome is normal, all the male children will be normal. Either they combine this with this X chromosome or this X chromosome. But both the daughters, since the X chromosome of father is a mutant chromosome, then whichever chromosome comes from mother, one chromosome will remain abnormal, that is mutant. Then both the daughters are, in both the cases, the daughters are carrier of the disease. Female can also have hemophilia, but this is much rare. If you see in this, suppose the male is having this disease, because if he is having X chromosome with disease, then we will be having disease. So if mother is a carrier, then there are chances that the resultant daughter may take the X chromosome from the mutant X chromosome from mother, whereas the X chromosome of father is already mutant. So when both the X chromosome of the resultant daughter are the mutant one, then she will express the disease. But this is a very rare combination, and so it is very rare in girls or females. In such cases, both X chromosomes are affected, or one is affected and the other is missing or inactive. This can also happen that the other X chromosome is either absent or is inactive. Then also the female may be having this hemophilic disease. In these females, bleeding symptoms may be similar to males with hemophilia. A female with one affected X chromosome is a carrier of hemophilia. Sometimes a female who is a carrier can have symptoms of hemophilia. In addition, she can pass the affected X chromosome with the clotting factor gene mutation on to her children. Even though her hemophilia is in family, some families have no prior history of family members with hemophilia. Sometimes there are carrier females in the family but no affected boy, just by chance. However, about 1/3 of the time, the baby with hemophilia is the first one in the family to be affected with a mutation in the gene for the clotting factor. Now, what hemophilia can result in? The symptoms are bleeding within joints that can lead to chronic joint disease and pain, bleeding in the head and sometimes in the brain, which can cause long-term problems such as seizures and paralysis. Death can occur if the bleeding cannot be stopped or if it occurs in a vital organ such as the brain. As far as types are concerned, there are several types of hemophilia. The two most common types are hemophilia A, classic, that is also called classic hemophilia. This type is caused by the lack of or decrease of clotting factor 8. And hemophilia B, which is also called Crispus disease. This type is caused by the lack or decrease of clotting factor 9. Now here, this is chart shows various other types of hemophilia also. As I have already told you, in hemophilia A, the factor deficiency is of factor 8. It is X-linked recessive. The hemophilia B, the factor deficiency is factor 9. It is also X-linked recessive. Hemophilia C, here the factor deficiency is of factor 11. This is autosomal recessive, not sex-linked recessive, but autosomal recessive. And parahemophilia, that is where the factor deficiency is of factor 5. This is also autosomal recessive. Coming to the signs and symptoms, common signs of hemophilia includes bleeding into the joints. This can cause swelling and pain or tightness in the joints. It often affects the knees, elbows, and ankles. Bleeding into the skin, which is bruised or muscle and soft tissue, causing a build-up of blood in the areas called a hematoma. Then bleeding of the mouth and gums, and bleeding that is hard to stop after losing a tooth. Now, others are bleeding after circumcision, bleeding after having shots such as vaccination, bleeding in the head of an infant after a difficult delivery, blood in the urine or stool, frequent and hard to stop nose bleeding. Diagnosis: many people who have or have had family members with hemophilia will ask that their babies, boys, get tested soon after birth. About 1/3 of babies who are diagnosed with hemophilia have a new mutation not present in other family members. In these cases, a doctor might check for hemophilia if a newborn is showing certain signs of hemophilia. To make diagnosis, perform certain blood tests to show if the blood is clotting properly. If it does not, then they would do clotting factor test, also called factor assay, to diagnose the cause of the bleeding disorder. Then these blood tests would show the type of hemophilia and the severity. Coming to the management strategies. Management strategies consist of prevention of bleeding episodes, replacement therapy, gene therapy, and desmopressin and other therapies. So first is control of bleeding episodes, that is local measures, which can be done by applying direct pressure or elevating the site which is bleeding, or ice compression. Then epistaxis can be prevented by asking the person to sit up and lean forward, or press the nostril in the backward portion. Then prevent the joint degeneration by immobilizing joint during acute bleeding, progressive exercise, avoid prolonged immobilization, and avoid contact sports. One should avoid intramuscular injections also as far as possible because they may also result in bleeding. Then we should also avoid NSAIDs, that is non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs in these persons because they make the person more prone for bleeding. Next is replacement therapy. It can be done with fresh whole blood, whole plasma, whole frozen plasma, cryoprecipitate, factor 8 or 9 concentrate, or recombinant factor 7, that is called NOVO7, to bypass factor 8 in the coagulation pathway. The best way to treat hemophilia is to replace the missing blood clotting factor so that the blood can clot properly. This is done by infusion, that is administration through a vein, commercially prepared factor concentrates. Bleeding episodes can be stopped and by performing the infusion on a regular basis called prophylaxis. It can even prevent most bleeding episodes. Then there is gene therapy. There is gene encoding factor 8. This factor 8 DNA must be compressed and optimized before it will fit in the virus. Then it is transferred to a virus which is introduced in the liver cell where it replicates, and new factor 8 proteins are available in the bloodstream. In gene therapy in type B, the DNA encoding factor 9 is taken in the virus, and the virus carrying factor 9 gene is introduced in the liver cells. The nucleus it replicates and form new factor 9 proteins available in bloodstream. Then desmopressin action stimulates the release of stored factors 8 and 1 Willebrand factor. 1 Willebrand factor carries and binds with factor 8, which then can stay in the bloodstream for longer time. Administration is by injection or nasal spray. Other treatments are also there, like EACA or E-aminocaprioic acid. Action is antifibrinolytic. It delays clot lysis. It is used as adjuvant therapy for dental procedures. Then fibrin glue action contains fibrinogen, thrombin, and factor 8. It is placed in the site of injury to stabilize clot. This is also used in dental procedures and after circumcision. Activated prothrombin complex concentrates, they have increased amount of activated factor 7A, factor 10, and thrombin. APCC are effective even in patients with high titer inhibitors. Risk of thrombosis is there. Polyethylene glycol conjugation, that is pegylation. This increases size, decreases renal excretion, and extends half-life. Polycyclic acid polymers, they form a watery cloud around the target molecules and are biodegradable. Good quality medical care from doctors and nurses who know a lot about the disorder can help prevent some serious problems. Often the best choice for care is to visit a comprehensive Hemophilia Treatment Center, that is SCT. And SCT not only provides care to address all issues related to the disorder, but also provides health education that helps people with hemophilia stay healthy. Inhibitors, about 15 to 20% of people with hemophilia develop an antibody called an inhibitor that stops the clotting factor from being able to clot the blood and stop bleeding. Treatment of bleeding episode becomes extremely difficult, and the cost of care for a person with an inhibitor can skyrocket because more clotting factors or a difficult type or a different type of clotting factor is needed. People with inhibitors often experience more joint diseases and other problems from bleeding than that results in a reduced quality of life. Now, what we can do? So, do the 5 is the tagline, because there are 5 tips. Tips for healthy living are: get an annual comprehensive checkup at a hemophilia treatment center, get vaccinated against hepatitis A and B. These are preventable diseases. Then treat bleed early and adequately, and exercise and maintain a healthy weight to protect your joints. Fifth is get tested regularly for blood-borne infections. So thank you very much for listening.
Thank you very much, Dr. Shukla sir and Dr. Gaikwad sir. Thank you, Gaikwad sir, for such a nice presentation regarding introduction of Hemophilia Day. And thank you so much, Dr. Shukla sir, for the brief insight into epidemiology and prevention of hemophilia. The hemophilia, as it has been already explained previously, in the history in 1960s and 70s, the average lifespan of hemophilia male patients was used to be 11 to 20 years, which along with the start of treatment improved to 1960s to 70s to 40 to 50 years. Okay. And now almost the hemophilia male patients, they survive up to 60 to 70 years, or even 5 to 10 years less than the normal life expectancy for male patients. And this has increased the number of cases of hemophilia because of these male patients who have got the hemophilia. Male have got only one X chromosome. So if they have this recessive hemophilia trait, they will be having the disease. Okay, whether it may be mild, moderate, or severe form of hemophilia. And these male hemophilia patients, as the life expectancy has increased, they get married, and eventually their male offsprings get the disease, or their female offsprings, either they will be the carrier, or if unfortunately mothers are also hemophilic, they will also have the disease because of both the recessive traits will be there. So the most important concern today is the pre-marriage counseling for hemophilia cases and for other genetic disorder cases. Okay, so as it is a ritual in many of our religions to see the Janma Kundali or Lagna Kundali before marriage, whether the traits are matching or not, right? So similarly, it is very important medically to check whether there are any genetically transmitted diseases, and whether the diseases like hemophilia, they should not match in both the bride-to-be and groom-to-be to produce the more healthy offsprings in the future. So that is the concern today. And I thank Dr. Shukla sir and Dr. Gaikwad sir for such nice presentations. I thank respected Secretary General, Lieutenant General Dr. V. Sadananda sir, and our Deputy Director, respected Dr. Abhijit Dute sir, for giving us opportunity. And I thank respected Dean sir, Dr. Sunil Natha Muske sir, for constantly encouraging us to carry out such activities and to take these programs on priority basis. Thank you very much. Thank you all the listeners. I conclude that this session is over. Thank you.